my introduction is to say how happy I am to be here. Partly because I've heard so much about this prestigious lecture of the Rabbi Meyer, and some of my various colleagues have had the privilege of delivering this lecture, but also because I take great pride in Rabbi Joel Berman's new position. We go back, quite some time, and our relationship has gone through various stages, from initially his being a student as part of the Elijah Consortium in Jerusalem that brought together Jewish and Christian students, to then being the administrator of the Elijah Interfaith Institute, and now to being a colleague and who was able to invite me back. And I take great joy to see the sacred space that he inhabits and all the wonderful people that are here and the life that he has here. I feel very, very honored to be here with you. Sacred space in many ways is something that we all cherish, and is at the same time also at the source of much tension, competition. We cherish it because in some way we resort to it. We resort to it in the building that we're gathered in the churches we go to, in the ideal of the Holy Land we cherish. We somehow assume it in our lives. Some of us cherish it in business class and first class. They also have sort of curtains that separate the holy from the holy of holies. You can't go past a certain point in the sacred space of an airplane. We live our lives with a kind of separation of this kind of space, that kind of space. We don't often enough give thought to how do we really think about it, what makes it sacred, in what ways do the different traditions conceptualize sacred space differently. And that, of course, becomes relevant when we move to the political arena, because a lot of what goes on between Jews and Christians ultimately revolves on issues related to the Holy Land and the different understandings of the Holy Land and potential points of tension and friction. And therefore, it's helpful both from the theological educational perspective and also from the practical perspective to think some about what is it that makes space holy, what are the different understandings that the different traditions bring to bear, and how can we on the one hand have a shared understanding, but then how can we take that shared understanding to inspire one another, to learn better about our sense of otherness, and ultimately how can that allow us to better appreciate contemporary contexts. So I will do the following. I will first describe the types of sacred space that we find in Judaism, and therefore Judaism's attitude to sacred space. I will then move on to describe Christianity. Since I'm interfaith, I can represent any religion I want to. That's why they said at a drop of a hat. So I will then move to my role as a Christian and then present to you Christianity. And then I will sort of assume my neutral ground and try to compare and contrast the two. And then we can facilitate a conversation, an exchange of ideas on what this actually means to the people here gathered. So let's begin then with the Jewish sense of sacred space. All sacred space in Judaism is derived from the notion of God's presence